Welcome everyone to the Everyday Heroes podcast. Today, I want you to welcome Narelle Falzon to the podcast. So she is the founder of Sister Sensory. She has two twin boys, both diagnosed with autism, ADHD, and anxiety. So she knows, she gets it. She understands what the journey looks like. She's navigated years of therapies and school systems and daily challenges that give her a lot of deep insight into what actually helps families who are raising autistic children. She's a qualified teacher's aide with extensive experience with neurodivergent children, and she created Sister Sensory to offer inclusive, accessible, and high-quality sensory products. Driven by commitment to helping families feel seen and supported and empowered, please help me welcome Narelle.
Hi, everyone. Hope all is well. As you know, my name's Narelle. We have a family business called Sister Sensory, which is online. We deliver all around Australia and internationally as well. We have sensory and educational products, and we target from about 1 year on to about 99. We're across the board. We're inclusive with we try to be inclusive for all ages. Our main age bracket would be from 3 to about onwards. So they're where the sensory educational products really hit and work really well with children and adults as well. Some of the products that we sell are like fidget toys, chew items, educational products, which could be sight words, math games, counting, fine motor products as well. That helps people with fine motor. We also have writing supports. That could be a slant board. That could be a big pen to help write. Or we also have weighted pens to help people write with. We also do gross motor products as well, which that helps children and adults, of course, with balance and with balance and I'm just trying to think of the word. Sorry, the word I'm trying to think of.
You're okay.
It's balance, and I can't think of the word. It'll come back to me, and it'll jump in my brain. That basically helps with balance and gets you to be able to move and work with hard, heavy labor, hard work. Now, that's great for people that need the grounding. So that could be like a scooter board. That could be kids stomping on, they're called like foot supports, like you can stomp on them. So that gives you that grounding. Also, we sell books, educational books, as well as books for adults and children to learn their diagnosis. We also sell wellness and mindful products as well. So that's Sister Sensory across the board. We also sell to mums and dads. We sell to schools and we sell to therapists. So we cater everyone, and we're also with the NDIS, and we can help you if you're plan managed, NADA managed, or self-managed. We can do invoices for you, send to the plan manager, so that can help and guide people as well. And even though the NDIS is changing consistently, we can kind of guide you what is working and what's not at the moment in the space. With sensory toys, they're great for people across the board because it helps you feel calm and relaxed. And that's a great thing because everyone wants to be calm and relaxed. So that's Sister Sensory in a nutshell. And
right.
So that's and like I said, we're based online, and we're in Victoria, so it's quite quick and consistent to send things.
Thanks so much for sharing that, because if you're new to the journey of maybe you've just recently had your child diagnosed with autism and you have no idea what sensory toys even do, or what is a sensory toy? How does that even help my child? A lot of the times we get thrown and thrust into this community with not really understanding how these toys can actually support our child. A lot of the times, I remember walking into a sensory toy back when my angel boy was first diagnosed and just thinking, well, I don't understand how this is going to help him do this. Like it didn't make sense to me in the beginning. And then obviously as we've grown, as we have continued, I'm like, okay, this makes more sense. When you have someone to actually explain that this is going to be able to help him or her give that weighted compression, or be able to do the fine motor skills, or be able to have those gross motor skills, because this particular product is going to be assisting this part of the brain, or this part of the body, or this part of the sensory nervous system that's going on with their child. It makes a lot more sense. But when you're new, it can just feel really overwhelming, and you can just feel like you're buying toys for the sake of buying toys, but not really understanding the real worth behind that. So I love that you've explained that, because I think that that's something that we can really share with as parents. Why do you think that sensory toys are so important when raising autistic children?
Sensory toys, because it basically brings people calm and lets them to regroup, refocus, and get on with what they were doing. So if they're at school, they're able to focus. If you're at work, you can focus. If you were like when you're so overwhelmed and stressed, some people have tantrums, some people just walk up and down because their brain just can't connect, and they're just like, I just need to settle down. I just need to regroup, refocus. So the good thing about sensory toys is you can do that. And that might be someone who's really stressed out by the light. Just say they can go into a nice little calming area, a dark space, maybe a quiet dark space, put some headphones on, reduce the noise. You can turn down the lights. A lot of people like a dark room or a dark tent where they can just they feel like they can shut everything down. A lot of people like to, sometimes people like the weighted products, like a weighted animal, a weighted blanket, a lap bag. Some people even put like lots of pillows. Like you might see kids put lots of pillows, or they want a big hug from their mum or somebody around them. That just gets them grounded as well, gets them to regroup, refocus as well. Sensory toys like fidgets and shoes are the most normal, like most people use out and about, or headphones, because it blocks out the noise. Sunglasses, another good one as well. And even chewing gum is another good one, because some people at the age, like some kids think I'm a big kid now. Even adults, they don't want to be like, even though they need that oral fixation, they don't want to be having a chew toy in their mouth, which I don't blame them. You want to do that in the privacy of your own home or wherever you are. So chewing gum is another good one for that. Or some people chew pens. I used to be a chew penner, I'm not going to lie, but I've really, once I've started this journey with my kids, I realized I was doing it. So I've kind of cut back on that myself. I still do it, don't get me wrong, occasionally, but yeah. So with the chew items, they work well with kids in a stressful situation at school. The fidgets, you'll see a lot of adults just fiddling with things. Some people flick like a bands even, or play with pencil clips. Metal, the paper clips. They play with those.
Bulldog clips.
Yeah, all those too. Yeah, and people, you'll know. It's funny when you go onto this journey and your eyes get open, you understand it. Even listening to a song over and over again, that's also trying to regulate and recalm yourself which I was actually really surprised with, because occasionally I can play the same song over and over again if I thought it because I really liked it. But it's just the way we calm and we try to regroup and refocus so we can get on with the day and live our life the best way we can. And that's what it's about. It's about people finding what works for them and works in their space and able to live their best life. And that's what it's all about. When people can live the best life, their families are happier, they're happier, everybody's happier, everyone feels relaxed. They can just take a breath and enjoy. And I think that's the most important thing about sensory tools, sensory aids in general.
And look, at the end of the day, if we're not coping, there's no way that we can learn, we can focus, we can participate in society, make friends, talk. Like all of these things come from if we've got a regulated nervous system. So if our nervous system is not regulated, you've got Buckley's chance of doing anything else, right?
Exactly. Because you can't, your brain's just, it's everywhere. It's just like I call it like a messy scribble, because you just can't connect where you need to go back in. And that's why look, it was great that schools I'll use the fidget spinners. Like when COVID came, everyone had fidget spinners. The fidget spinners are great for people that actually need them, because some people are very visual. Some people like the spinning. Some people like just the look and the feel of it. That's what works for them. But then, unfortunately, schools let them, like schools, I'll use schools in particular, then they stopped them because everyone had a fidget spinner because everyone thought it was a toy. And that went on for a little while, but people didn't realize they're not just, yeah, they can be a toy, but they're not a toy. They're a tool, and they're an aid for a lot of people out there that need the supports in their sensory journey, so to speak.
And just to add on to the sensory, the spinners, what I love is that, manufacturers has really come to the party where, especially girls who, even I think they've created them for boys as well, where they can actually have a ring that is quite discreet, that is like a spinner, and they can use that as a way of coping. So it's really discreet. It's not something that's going to draw a lot of attention. And that's where we love it, especially moving into the teen years, is that Definitely. You can have things that aren't going to be like a big shining big red light going, hey, look at me, I've got this thing going on. But you can be really discreet and still be managing your own nervous system, which I think is so important, because as our beautiful children, we don't want them to be singled out, but we do want them to be able to have the support that they need.
Definitely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like years ago, I'll use an example. I was at I think it was Science Work. It was a museum of Science Works. And there was a school going by, and there was about 6 kids with headphones on. Now, years ago, you would never ever see that. Like, they would have been shunned upon, like not happening. So I think, like you said, everyone's stepping up. Everyone's starting to realize they're not just for things. Like you said, the rings, they're great for the older kids. Like, just don't want to have a baby rhino in their hand squishing it. You know what I mean? Like, even though they're fun and they're great, kids that age just don't want that to be seen and frowned upon, so to speak, because there is that stigma still around sometimes. But like you said, a fidget ring or a spiky ring where you just move up and down, or a spinner on a pen maybe, or even some pencil grips now I've noticed, and we're looking into, they've got like little fuzzy things on there that you can flick or roll and play with. So they're discreetly trying to not hide them, but make them more accessible and not so look at me, flashing on them.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's a good thing.
No, absolutely. That's a great thing. Going into my next question is that what brought you to have Sister Sensory created? Like, what made you decide that this is something that you really wanted to go into?
All right. So I personally came from an event. I was actually a chef and then went into events. And when I had my twins, I thought I'd just go back into that. Just go straight back into it, like when it was time to go. And then we found out through the kinder that one of my our diagnosis happened a bit differently. But one of my children, he was my first one. We found out he had autism, and then sensory processing, and went into ADHD over the course of the years. He was all over the shop. Like, he couldn't sit still. He struggled. We really struggled with him at like getting into a school. My other twin, we found out later, he had audio processing, went into autism, and now he's got the opposite of the ADHD. They've both got different ADHDs. One's up, so crazy times, but that's all good. So for me, with my first son, I was trying to fight, like, because I'm a person that, okay, we've got a diagnosis. I need to know everything. I need to understand it. I need to know what works, doesn't work. That's just the way I am. So I really went hard, looked into all these things. I found that I couldn't find products. And this is going back 9-10 years ago now. Couldn't find products. They were all from the US. They were a fortune. Well, they still are a fortune. They're just more. So I'm like, I can do this better, and I can help people. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm going to start a business. And it was online. And we started a business, and the word got out. We went to a lot of events and expos, and we found there was a lot of people in the same boat, can't find the products. And through the course of the first couple of years, we went to a lot of events and we spoke to a lot of parents, a lot of therapists, and they gave us some great suggestions. We gave them great suggestions. So we kind of evolved that way. It was just through my son, and then what I wanted to get him and what I thought he needed. And then I noticed what he liked. And then I went out searching to see what he liked and what wasn't there. So it kind of just grew and grew and evolved because the community started to come to us, and they were like, oh, we've tried this, we've tried that. And it just kind of fell into place, so to speak. It's ever since then we've just grown, and we've tried to cover, for us, we've tried to be the shop that covers all kind of avenues of sensory, like the fine motor, the gross motor, seating requirements for kids, like at school, at home as well, the chew items, the games. Like with our games, my kids came from a Montessori background. So for me, I really wanted the games not to just be one game. I wanted them to be open-ended. You could do several things with them. They were interactive. They had a purpose behind it. Like some of the games we've got at the moment, you can count with them. They've got color sorting at the same time. Then if you go a bit older, you can scan in and do different older games, like the company gives you some other options. So it's just not one game. You can follow up and step up. Like we've got and some games that I really love are the smart games, where they start at all different ages, and there's like 60 challenges, and you start from basic, like the basic, and you go up to expert. Now, I've played a couple of them, and I'm the first one to admit that I only gave up on a couple, but persevered, went back the next day and worked it out, but they're fantastic. Do you know what I mean? Like I like the games that other people can play, or they can be passed on to other kids with sensory needs. Like I know there's quite a few families that we see in the showroom, and they've said, oh, we've got a body sock that was handed down from our friend because it didn't work. And that's what it's about too, because not everything's going to work with the products. Like I know with my son, I was very against a weighted blanket at the very start. I just didn't think they were worth the money. I didn't think they were anything special. And then we had someone reach out and said, look, just try these, sell them in the store, see how you go. And my son was crazy this day, just couldn't get him to settle. Gave him one of those, best night's sleep he ever had. And I was converted. I won't lie, I was converted. I'm like, I've got to be more open-ended. I just can't think what I don't, because everybody's different and unique, and like something that, like the weighted blanket that works for him, great, won't work for me because I hate weighted stuff. So that's where you've kind of, as a parent, you've got to be open-ended, because what you think you don't like, your son or your anybody might like. And I think that's the journey. You've got to try things, and that's the hardest bit too, because you look, and I agree, I've tried a lot of things in and out, and if they don't, and like I've said to a lot of the families over the years, if they don't work straight away, put them aside, always come back and try again later, because you just don't know at that time they don't need it or they're not ready for it. So always try a couple of times. And if it really doesn't work after the third time, well, it's time to move it on. It's not going to work. So, but other than that, yeah, you try.
I love that. It's a perfect example, even with my son. So we bought him one of those, it was like a puppy with like weighted paws.
Oh, cute.
Very cute, right? And when I first got it for him, he wasn't really interested in it, whatever. And as he's gotten older, that he will, at bedtime, like he has to have puppy. Like it's a non-negotiable. And so, but when we first introduced it, he was kind of like, it was a hit and miss. Like he didn't really gravitate towards it. But that brings into that point. We kept it. It was always there. And then when he was ready, he was like, oh no, I have to have puppy. Like this is something that's part of our life now. And I love that he was able to communicate that to us in a way that made sense to him, so that he could have it, so that he could feel good, right? And now puppy's going on quite some years, so he's a bit tattered and a bit
ragged.
But he's doing well, and I think that that's important, because not every sensory profile is going to be different, and it also dependent on the day, dependent on where your child's age is, and as we know, as the child grows and develops, those sensory needs change as well, right?
Definitely.
Needed.
Definitely. Yeah, you're definitely right. And like when their profile changes, and it does change, because you might be a sensory seeker when you're younger, and you might be an avoider when you're older. it just adapt, and you've got to adapt and change, and that happens. And yeah, you're right. And it's like you just said, with the puppy, you're like, oh, it doesn't work, why not? And some people get stressed. It's like, no, just bring it back another day. You never know.
No, I love that. Now, obviously, we see a lot of trends, like you were just talking about the fidget spinners. What are the current trends that you're seeing right now when it comes to sensory products?
Oh, definitely the fidget rings. For us, we've got skin picking pads. Like, we're seeing the trends of the skin picking pads, and we've got some which the skin picking pads are, they're all different shapes and sizes, different colors, different beads or stones in them. And they're great for two reasons. Like, again, it's got that knock-on effect. Some people love it because it's great for fine motor, picking things out. And if you don't lose your patience, that's a perfect one for you, because they can be fiddly and you can lose your patience. So just be aware of that. And the other one, some people, if they've like, people pick skin, some people pick their skin on their fingers or their eyebrows or their hair. They're another good, they're kind of mimicking that. So the skin picking definitely is a big one. Always fidgets are different shapes and sizes. But a lot of the firmer ones seem to be the ones trending at the moment. Like the more you can squeeze, like at the start of our journey when we started buying products, a lot of the softer, the firmer ones were in, and we found it really hard to find a lot of the gel, harder, firmer ones. Now everything's about the harder the squeeze, and that's also, but it's a good thing with the harder the squeeze, because if you've got arthritis or you need to move your hands or need to get your hands ready for writing, you can squeeze and you can move, your hands are getting ready for what, like to write, or they're keeping moving, keeping the blood circulating. So if you've got arthritis, so they don't lock up. So it's got a two-prong effect. So the gel kind of hard fidgets are a good one. Also too, a lot of sensory stuff that has different textures. So like you might have a smooth, then you might have like a bumpy, you might have like a hairy one as well. A lot of different textures. A lot of people are loving those. And of course, everything that spins. there's no matter what, spinning, putty, and slime are always the top three. Like, we never, like, I personally don't like slime. I think it's a terrible thing to have in your house. But I know if I don't sell slime and I never have it, people are like, where's the slime? Where's the slime? So you've got to have the slime. So
oh
that's
my Lord,
always there. But I'm not a lover of slime, but but yeah, others are. So, but that's a sensory thing. And that's, some people hate the putty because the putty's a lot firmer and a lot of firmer and stretchier, as the slime's like more jelly-like consistency, and some people love that, which is okay. And some people love the Play-Doh because they love that soft kind of cloud, kind of doughy feel. So again, it's what your preference is.
Yes, I can say that we have tubs upon tubs upon tubs of slime in our house, and Mum's going a bit nuts, and we're a bit ready to throw all that out.
Yeah, so, I hear you.
Under no circumstances is Santa bringing slime, so like that's out. What are you seeing in terms of the trends globally? Like, is there anything new that you're seeing that's, people are popping up on Instagram or social media that is saying, oh yeah, this is where we're going towards?
Definitely. I think across the board, people love certain. There's always going to be a new little product all the time. Like, there's a thing called little ouchies at the moment. They look like they're little pain stimming 3D little rollers, and they've got little spikes on them, and I personally don't like the feel of them, but I know when people come, it's like when people come in the store or at expos or markets, they touch things, they're like, oh, I don't like the touch of that, or I don't like this. You're like, with these pain things, they're like, they've got a spike on them, and you can squeeze them as hard or as light as you want. Some people love the feeling of them and think, oh my God, this feels so good. Others are like, oh, I don't like that. It's funny to see the reaction. It's not funny in a funny way, but it's funny to see, oh, I like that, or oh no. So that's definitely one of them. The skin picking seems to still be another global one that I see all over TikTok still. A lot of visual bubble tubes, I still see a lot, and the lighting, the fiber optic lighting in sensory rooms is another good one. Also, you know how I was talking about headphones? We also have earplugs, and a lot of people like the earplugs. A lot of the older, like teenagers onwards, because you're not having the hearing, like the headphones on showing. So the little earplugs hide in your ears, and if you're at a concert, at the movies, because we all know sometimes when you're watching a movie, it can get really loud all of a sudden. They work well there as well. And I'm just trying to think what else. There's always some little gimmick every year, every couple of months, something new comes out. Like last year, at the start of this year, was all the 3D printing. Like you would have seen a lot of them around at markets everywhere. Oh, there was a dinosaur, or there was unicorns, or they were just everywhere. I think now the shift has changed. 3D printing's still very much there, but they've shifted it a little to different. But I think like I said, I think it's a good thing with the trending, because everyone's like, oh, this would have been good if you can do this, or you can do that, or so everyone's always adapting and changing and making it better, because it's all about, like, people don't know until they put out a product or make a product, and they're like, oh, that would have been great if you added this, or this would have been fantastic if you did that. So I think it's great that there's trending products and they're always adapting and making new products.
With the ouchies that you were talking about, is that more directed at like self-harm?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Definitely more self-harm, but there's people that don't self-harm and love that feel as well. Like I said, everyone's got a preference to the texture. Like I know there's we have a product and it's got like snow in the product. Like I hate the sound of it and the feel of the product. I just, it's not my thing. But I know there's people who go, oh, this is the best thing ever. Or there's people, like I said, again, with the hard and the soft and the firm, people are like, oh, too hard, or oh, this is just right. So again, it's just preference. Like it's like I could have a whole table and it'd be interesting to see where everyone gravitates to at the end. And it's funny how people go, oh, that looks great, and they're like, oh no, it's really interesting to watch people's not aversions, but people sometimes just the way they like you just know, reaction. Yeah, straight away, like oh no, that's not for me. So yeah.
So obviously you've got a lot of repeat customers, a lot of loyal customers. What would you say that their feedback has been with regards to a lot of your toys?
Some of them have suggested some of them and said, look, I saw this online. Can you get this? And we're like, oh, I've never heard of this, and looked in and said, yeah, we can. And we always try to, like, if we can, we'll always try a product, because the people that know the products are the best, the ones that have got them or used them. And it's the same boat with us. Like when we started Sister Sensory, I knew that the pea pods worked really well. Later on, I knew the weighted blankets worked really well because we tried them. I knew the headphones worked because they were, and you needed soft ones, because I know that sometimes people, like, I'll use the headphones as an example. I know that we've had a lot of people come in the past and spoken to us and said, I just got the headphones from Bunnings, the cheap ones, the like $15, I think they were at the time, and they're really, but they put them on the kids, and the kids wouldn't wear them because it's just so hard on the ears. They're not designed for the noise cancelling. They're designed for people jackhammering. They lose them, you get a new one. And then when they come in and they put the headphones on, they're like, oh, and the kids are like, oh, I like this, because it's designed to be soft. It's designed to be working the way it needs to be worked. And
I love that people are suggesting, because that's how we all learn, right? That's how.
Oh, definitely.
If you don't know, then how would you know to get that product? Like it's through other parents' recommendations that we can be like, yes, well, if it's going to help your child, no doubt it will help others as well. One question I wanted to ask you is, if, like, obviously there are parents on this group who are, like I said, new to the autism journey, who are still navigating what sensory toys mean to them, still trying to understand their child's sensory profile and whatnot. What would you say to them, coming from a sensory background? What would you say to them for them to better understand their child?
For me, and from other people's experience, is basically talk to your therapist, ask them what are they, what do you think they need, then you kind of not full on watching them, but you watch them, see what they like and don't like. Like one of my sons loved crunchy stuff, so we'd always give him a carrot when we could see him, like something happening, he wasn't regulating, we thought a meltdown might come, or when we were transitioning to things, we would give him a carrot, or we'd get some crisp, or he'd eat cucumbers, like something crunchy, and he loved that. Or like kids that don't like transition, when they need to know when they're going, we'd always prompt, and also we'd have a schedule as well, and just saying, here today, here tomorrow, remember we're going to grandma's, or we remember kinder's on, remember school's on. When you get into the journey, your therapist should guide you and say, look, this is what I recommend, this is what I think you need to do, this is where you start. And it kind of, you adapt along the way. And like, even when your kids are at school, or maybe they're not at school, you just have a look and just monitor them, and then you'll know and be able to pick up on signals. And kids often will tell you too, or they'll show you. Like I said, my kid used to be a stomper, so he would stomp around the house. So I'm like, okay, he needs to go for a run, or we need to get out there, and to, like, he needs to just be able to regulate. So, or he would go and sit with the weighted blanket with him, or the body sock, etc. I would say definitely it's all about learning your child's little unique ways, basically, how they act. Like, I know that some people, when their kid comes out of school, they've already got their iPad ready, they've got their snacks, or they've got their headphones. They know not to talk to their kids. Others know the kids just wants to download and tell them everything, so they're just going blah, 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 blah. And you're there to listen to your kid because that's what they need at that time. Everybody's different what they need, and I think you've just got to follow the prompts, basically. And if you've got a speech therapist, an OT, a psychologist, you try to get them as much information as possible. That's what they're there for, and that's what you're paying them for. And you want them to give you as much guidance as possible, because like, we have parents come in and go, I've just been to my OT, she said I need fine motor skills, and they leave it at that. And it's like, what kind of fine motor skills do you need? Do you need ones for helping with writing? Do you need helping with picking up products? Do they've got to give you more information as well, and help you and guide you so you can help. And I know most parents that we see, they just want their kids to be at their best ability, and they want to help them the best they can. And look, also a lot of knowledge is great too. Like I said, I read all different things and I didn't take the advice of everyone. I took the overall advice and what I thought I knew as well. And like I said, when you get into this community, you'll find other parents, and they will help you as well. And they'll tell you things, and they'll say, oh, do you know about this place? Or do you know about this person? Or do you know about this product? People will give you information. And again, take on what you need to take on. Just adapt and try. That's the best thing I can probably say. We always just tried to work out what was the best for our kids, and I think it's worked. They're 16 now and doing really well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think also too, kids just want love as well. You know what I mean? And they want to be heard. And I think when they're not hidden in the corner and they're heard, and you help them be the best they can be, they'll thrive. Any kids will thrive.
Spoken so well. Yes, absolutely. We need to hear them, see them. We need to understand where they're coming from, even if it's something that you don't quite understand. If you're neurotypical yourself and your child is neurodivergent and you're like, I don't understand why this is a thing that you need, take it with a grain of salt. Give them the toy, see how it responds, see what's going on for them. And then we can be like, great, well, I don't know why I love massages so much, and I wish I could get them like, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever, right? But I know it works for me. I know it makes me feel better. I know it makes me, function better. Great. That's something for me, but not everyone's the same. So I think that just making sure that we're really seeing that person for who they are and what they need is so important. One thing I would add and tack on to what you were saying before is, if you already have an OT, getting them to do a sensory profile, because that is something that they can do. Yeah, they can do that. And so you can use that information as data to see where they are sitting on that profile. Take that into, or call Sister Sensory, or go into the warehouse and be like, okay, this is my child's sensory profile. This is what they're coming up as. Show me all the products that you have that align to this particular profile so that I can best support my child. And that is I would say that's probably the best way to start in order to help your autistic child really show up and help them either at home, in the classroom, especially now when you're going into, maybe you're going to a cousin's house or an auntie or uncle's house. It's a different environment. There's different smells. You're not really sure. You can give them what they need, even if that means, right? And I say this, and I really want the community to hear this. If that means that you need to bring a tent, right, or a teepee or a whatever, and you set that up in the living room, and and that's how it's going to be, so be it, right? Like, I really want you to make sure that you are giving that child what they need without feelings of shame, blame, guilt, remorse, like grief, anything. I don't want you feeling. You are doing that so that they can, set themselves up for success. Now, you can't tell me, and I say this in the flip coin, that there are people going to the same Christmas party who are going to down 2 bottles of wine because they're not coping, because maybe they don't want to talk about their recent divorce or their recent separation or the fact that they maybe don't have a great job or whatever it is. That's a coping mechanism. That's a way that they're coping. So to say no, to say no to a tent, right, for your child so that they can cope, is like saying to the person who's drinking the alcohol, well, bud, we're not drinking anymore. You would never say that to that person. So why should we deny that child that tent, that place of solitude, of a place to regroup, like you were saying in the beginning? So I really want parents who are listening to have that courage to say, look, let's go. Let's make sure this Christmas is as easy for them as it is for us, so that we can make sure that they're feeling well taken care of. And I think that's so vitally important, especially this time of year.
Oh, definitely. And I think you hit the nail on the head. That they need to, if you know that if you're going to grandma's house, most grandmas would say, yeah, put the tent in the corner, or you let them play on the iPad. Just prompt people, if you're going to their house, say, look, we're going to be bringing the iPad. There's going to be a time that's coming out. They're not rude. They just need that time away from someone. They need to watch what they want to watch or do whatever they need to do, or they're going to wear their headphones the whole time. It's not because I don't want to hear you. It's just, it's too much noise or clutter around. Just let people be aware, I think. Like you just said, if you're going to bring the tools, or most people have red wine there, and there's always someone there, and that, like you said, but that is a coping mechanism for people. No different to what the iPad is, or chewing on a chewy stick, or playing with the fidget the whole time. So again, just prompt people and let them be aware. And like you said, and then I think that makes life a lot easier, and it's not stressful for the host, the parents, and the child.
Yep, it's well said. And I want parents to know that they have the confidence and the permission to do so. Definitely. Because a lot of parents think that they don't, or they shouldn't, or they can't. And that's simply not true. It's just not true.
Yeah, you got to talk. You got to advocate for yourself and your family, basically, don't you? You've got to say, this is us. Take it or leave it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so where can people find you? And I also want you to share the freebie that you have for anyone that's listening.
Oh, okay. We are online. It's www.sistersensory.com.au. Had to think about that for a minute. We are available online 24/7. If you're a school, we do school purchase orders if you'd like. If you're with the NDIS, we can help you out, like I said at the start, with invoicing, going through the porthole. If you're self-managed, we can send you an invoice. You can also, if you're a mum and dad, or just a person that likes fidgets or games or educational products and looking for a present for somebody that is needing sensory, or just needs, you think it's a lovely little present just for someone to have an educational product, definitely, we're online. We're in the showroom to the 20th of December, where you can come in, touch, feel. We're often at markets and events, especially in the space next year. We're doing some interstate events. So like our Facebook, you'll always see where we're going. So you might be able to pop down and see us down there and have a chat to us. We're always open for a chat. You can use the chat online, or you can send me an email or give us a call. We'll always call you back. If I don't answer, I might be on a call to someone else, or I might be serving, or I might be at an event. Please leave a message. We'll get back to you, and we'll try to give you the best information that we know possible, or we will try to send you to someone that can help you. The thing that we're offering at the moment is 10% off. I think, let me just double check the code I used. I forgot.
Yes, I think I believe it is.
It's Everyday Heroes 10%. That's what it was. If you use that at the checkout, all lowercase, no space, you'll be able to get 10% off. And that's just not off sales and the bulky items, because the bulky items come from the supplier and they deal with all the shipping and that. But other than that, we're here to help, and yeah.
Right. So is the 10% off, is that only until Christmas, or is
that's for whenever. That's open-ended to everybody. So you're more than welcome to use that code. So that's Everyday Heroes 10%, all lowercase, no space.
Perfect. I will add that to the show notes so people have the code there. Thank you so much for your time, Narelle. I really appreciate you coming on and chatting about everything that is sensory, because as we know, we do need this as a part of our lives, as a part of our children's lives. So making sure that their lives are just a little bit easier in this very neurotypical world.
No, thank you for having me, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And let's hope that everyone has a lovely time over Christmas and has a great new start to the new year, and school's fresh and revived for everybody going forward into 2026. And if you've got any questions, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help at any time.
Love that. And Merry Christmas to you too, Narelle. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.